Want drama?
Stay with me, because what Chevy just did to the Corvette for 2026 isn't a simple refresh. It's a rethink. By the end of this video, you'll know whether the Stingray still earns the name American Supercar and whether you should start saving or start scheming. Welcome back to Auto Vibes Reviews. Hit subscribe if you love detailed car breakdowns that don't waste your time. First impression, the 2026 Stingray still slaps. From a distance, it reads as a Corvette. Low, wide, aggressive. But walk around it and you notice the little things that make it feel sharper for 2026. Cleaner front intakes, a slightly reprofiled nose that's both purposeful and premium, and tighter creases along the flanks that give the side profile a mean, forward-thrusting stance. Look at the rear, and the taillight treatment is modernized, wider, more sculpted, and with aero tweaks that aren't just for show. These changes keep the silhouette unmistakable, while nudging the design into something that feels more modern and more intentional than before. Slide into the cabin, and you see the most meaningful update. Chevy ripped out the old button wall and replaced it with a true cockpit experience. A 3-screen layout, a cleaner center console, and a driver-focused sweep that feels less like a flight deck and more like the place you actually want to drive from. There's far less visual clutter, more premium materials and color options, and a layout that finally matches the car's performance ambitions. Cup holders still exist, thankfully, but now the tech is clear, accessible, and integrated, which improves everyday usability without killing the sporty vibe. This interior overhaul is the single biggest reason the 2026 Corvette feels like more than a facelift. Under the body, the Stingray keeps what made the mid-engine Corvette special, a rear mid V8 that still sings. The standard 6.2-liter V8 in Stingray spec produces around 490–495 horsepower, with roughly 470 lb-ft of torque depending on options, routed through a crisp dual-clutch 8-speed that lets the car hustle when you ask it to. That's enough for seriously fast launches and grin-inducing in-gear thrust. Available add-ons like magnetic selective ride control and performance gearing help this thing bite into corners with confidence. If you crave more, remember the Corvette family ladder. Z06, ZR1, and even wild hybrids and high-power variants exist to throw insane numbers at the problem. But for most buyers, the Stingray's naturally aspirated. High-revving V8 is the perfect balance of soul and speed. So what does that translate to in the real world? Expect blistering acceleration and cornering that belies the car's price. Chevy quotes quarter-mile times and 0 to 60 numbers that put the Stingray in serious supercar territory for the money, while the more extreme Z-spec models shove into outright hypercar-level performance. And yes, the ZR1 has already redefined the ceiling for what a Corvette can be, but the Stingray remains the everyday hero of the lineup. Let's talk dollars. Chevy lists the Corvette starting in the low $70,000s for the Stingray, with higher trims and options pushing that number up significantly. The Z06 and ZR1 sit much higher on the ticket. For buyers who want performance without the astronomical price, the Stingray's base figure is still a jaw-dropper in value per thrill comparisons. If you want one, be prepared. Demand is high, and certain dealers are already taking deposits and pre-orders for 2026 delivery windows. A responsible note before you dream too hard. Chevy recently announced a recall affecting some high-performance Corvette variants around fuel spillage concerns, specifically certain Z06 and ZR1 models. That doesn't negate the Stingray's appeal, but it's a reminder that big performance sometimes arrives with complex engineering trade-offs, and that you should always check for safety notices or dealer updates before buying. So who is the 2026 Stingray for? If you want a mid-engine sports car that looks the part, drives like a threat, and now has an interior that matches the hype, this is your car. If you want a track-focused monster, look up the Z06/ZR1 specs. But if you want the best combination of daily usability, insane performance for the money, and a cabin that finally feels cohesive, the Stingray is where most of the magic lives. Final thoughts. Chevy's 2026 updates make the Corvette feel more complete. Gone is the awkward center button forest. In its place is a modern cockpit, sharper styling, and the same V8 soul that made the Corvette a legend. For AutoVibes Reviews viewers who care about value, performance, and that intoxicating V8 soundtrack, the Stingray still delivers, and now it does so with a little more polish. If you want me to compare this directly to a Porsche 911 or a mid-engine Ferrari rival, tell me in the comments which matchup you want and I'll make that video next. If you enjoyed this breakdown, slam that like button, subscribe to AutoVibes Reviews for more deep dive car reviews, and ring the bell so you don't miss the full test drive and comparison we're prepping next. Which color would you spec? Drop it below, I'm curious. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.